nothing I can do about it. But I appreciate your concern, though. I like that it shows this now. I don't know why. I really just like that. 30 frames per minute.
I'm at 4,000.
Interesting. 3626 for me.
That's the highest I think it goes is 4,000.
I like how it shows the microphone too, like people are talking. Someone said Jake played Tom McDonald and Adam Cohan, they wouldn't care about copyright issues.
It's not them.
Yeah.
It's YouTube. They don't care who it is.
Yeah.
They want to get you.
Now, with my music, I can play my music because I have the written. Because when you look at the copyright claim, it says you have to have a written statement. I have the written statement. I can use that beat on any platform I want. So if YouTube copyrights me, I can dispute my own music just in case they say, "Oh, this came from this." I can dispute that I actually have the paperwork for that. So let's say we call a music label up and we got like written statements to say, "Hey, it's okay for you guys to use it." That would be cool.
It's still you have to go through the process. It's Ben does that all the time. The America's Voice has the radio station in Fresno that we used to do.
Yeah.
They've bought all the licenses and everything. They spent like literally 6 hours a day doing that. They gave up and said, never mind. It's not as easy as people think.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you have a team that's what they're dedicated to, but as it is right now, we're so far stretched thin. And you can't just sign up for something like, okay, I have the rights to all ABC Music, and then every time ABC Music gets a claim, like YouTube's smart enough to take care of that. They don't do that.
Yeah.
They'll send you something every time, and then you take down your videos every time.
Gotcha.
That's the problem.
Interesting. Oh, so I guess Strong Nana, which her name is Cheryl, she said that she sent you an email for clips of, I believe it was yesterday's, we was in Washington.
Yeah, I haven't been able to even open up my text messages or email yet.
I mean, we'll get to that.
Yeah, tomorrow will be probably a day off because of snow or whatever they want to, whatever. It probably won't be on the road, so.
Be right back, guys.
Yeah, be right back. We'll see how much this costs.
$80. I got it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go get a coffee and go to the little girl's room.
There's the portable shower they have. That gray trailer there. There's a barber shop over here. There's
battery port charging station.
Been with us all along. Where you at needing the batteries for the handheld? This is a Flying Pig. I got a handheld. I ain't got no batteries for it. Where you at?
Those in chat who have served, I just want to say thank you for your service. I've just been reading chat and listening to the CB. It's pretty chaos here, so I've just been paying attention to everything at once. So sorry if I'm not reading chat instantly. I'm just trying to pay attention to so many things at once right now with all this out here. Diana wants to see the outside of our car. This is our retired police vehicle. The stickers were peeled off. It's a 2007 Chevy Impala police package. You can see the mounting brackets where the spotlight was here. So
Met a pickup with a small camper. The weighted extract on the side. Red and silver pickup.
I hate when it does this. Open door. Get locked. Well, you gotta let it all the way back in and out. You're in ratchet mode here. When it does that, you gotta let it all the way out and back in. Why does it do that? Because that's car seat mode. Yeah, you'll get it all.
Okay, backlight needs radio. Thank you.
We got 141 miles. Let's see if our radio's working.
Alright, just a reminder, we're doing four-wheeler search, red RVs, and the big truck. Y'all gonna be last, not big, beautiful bobtail. Y'all gonna be last today.
See if our radio's working.
We're gonna bring Mike up the truck all the way up on the left side. So I need you to bring him quick. Anybody? If anybody wants to ride the green Dodge Power Wagon, it's got an empty seat. Hey, Trent, come on, brother.
You can take that down.
Hey,
But I'm trying to
Trent, you got
push up against the windshield like this. Can you grab my charger?
Hey, everybody, I need the radio clear, please. Can I put down the radio clear? This is X-ray. Respectfully requesting this. KCTE, you want me to move? Get everybody organized with my team.
Dude, get my phone charger.
Yeah, Trent's copy. Sorry about that.
Where's this Where's your phone? Oh, that's your plug in the battery pack. Yeah, it's fine though. You can use that
Hey, to the back row. I thought that bobtail wanted me to move.
Where's the battery pack? It's in the
Heading to the front gate with some cone barrels and trash barrels, but I'm still looking for take the front.
Alright, I'm headed up there. White light, and I got a whole roll of it.
Thank you. See you there. Anybody in the back lot, go ahead. Now, back lot, go ahead, start station.
All stations, this is X-ray. Please clear this radio down. Please stop all traffic on this net, except for essential traffic for my team, so we can get you out effectively and efficiently.
Get the US flag out.
Please stop all radio traffic on 37 until the convoy is down, right? Thank you very much.
When you hit the highway, you'll have to pull them down. Yeah, I can do this one. If you pull yours out, I'll hold the other one. Should set up that one instead of that one. What? Okay, I should have set the put down while we were waiting for something. Yeah. But we had for a second. Roll it out. Do like I did. Stick it in this pocket here and then pull the window up easy. Like this? Hold it up for a second.
Where do you need that yellow tape at?
Like this? Yeah, just go right. Unroll it, yeah. Keep rolling. There you go.
Thank you, buddy.
That should hold it. So that's good? Yeah, because that'll hold, you know what I mean? As it tries to pull back, The wind will try to pull it back, and we'll kick in. Pull that one in. Let's just have this one.
Huh?
Pull it for now.
We got her, I believe she's parked in the handicap section on the other side of the stadium. If you can swing your bouncer around there and pick her up real quick, I'd appreciate it.
Everybody can hear reading.
Ooh, are you guys riding along? No, we're in our we're in our retired cop car. We're
rolling with the convoy, yeah.
But we're rolling with the convoy.
That's what they was wondering.
I thought they were like we're riding along ride along with the trucker. No, we're just
I wish we could roll.
yeah.
It's hard with all of us to.
Yeah.
Phone ringing.
Who up here at this front gate said they needed yellow tape? I just delivered it. No one knows about it. Jimmy Ashford up there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Ashford up there. And I'll
Yeah,
bring
we're good.
cones and trash barrels now. Jimmy Ashford. Cone barrels
No,
and trash barrels. I'm on my way.
We're good.
Come on, Rick.
No, we're good.
Go for
We'll
it.
probably only gonna do
What
the
about
one
you?
until,
I'm gonna answer the door. I will I'll restart this live stream
Alright,
and
so
we'll get to rolling, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, because like A said, that by the second lap you're gonna be down in DC.
Are you in the fire? Have
Rush
you
hour,
been
it's
on
gonna be a mess.
Clear the
That's
radio,
our
please.
plan to do
He's on his way up to
something,
you.
but it's gonna be a mess.
Where is he at? I'm not here by the trailer. Where is he at? I'm not here by the
Yeah,
if you're
we're
going to
good.
keep take it to a different channel, please.
Yeah, I told me I had to go to McDonald's at 7:30. Yeah.
Great job, four-wheelers. Everybody's looking good. We'll get you all out the front of the vanguard.
Yeah, we're the cars. We get to go first today. We get to lead the convoy.
Okay,
And they're gonna split us
Hey,
up.
I'm up
Guys
between
that
the
have
front gate and the
CBs,
bobtails.
we got CBs, so we're gonna they're gonna space us out where we can help keep the convoy flowing.
I'm gonna pull up there where you're at. This is where
Yeah, I can, yeah, we're talking back and forth. They can,
Come on to the front, so guys, come on up.
yeah. 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 That's
So
what I said, we
everyone
got
in
to walk
chat,
the talkie here if we knew.
How many laps are they on? They're doing about
Two
two.
today.
Two today. Two wide.
Come on, brother.
2 loops.
Do you want to bump down to 37? I mean 33.
33. You can jump down to 30. But we'll miss what's going on here.
I know. We'll just. That's why I wish we had two.
What? Yeah.
Anyone on 33 have their ears on? Please drive careful, thank you. We will.
I know that we was talking to him last night. What is it? Yeah. Yeah, remember on the interstate last night, Tommy, we did a radio check. They heard us.
Yeah.
It's working. We need to.
37.
Huh? Yeah. Well, people are riding with truck drivers. Yeah. It'd have been hard. Yeah, it'd have been hard for us to have had to separate us. You know what I mean? Because most trucks, you know what I mean, they got 2 people. You know what I mean? They're driving one person passenger.
Got a T-man radio check. Check.
Yeah, it's working.
Roger that. I gotta turn down a minute ago. Walking up the road there.
Oh, that truck on the flatbed got rear-ended.
Can we get out there or?
We're gonna get out there.
There's
Tommy.
no one in. The guy in front of us isn't even in a truck, I don't think.
Alright. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, he is. What's he waiting on?
We're good.
Pilot vehicle coming up right now. Pilot's on the way up right now.
Pilot's on our way to the front. We're getting ready to start going up.
Ready, we're gonna get that beautiful camo seatbelt out there. Come on.
Here comes our pilot car. Pilot car's passing right now.
Live chat checks. Yeah, we got you.
Alright.
Any ham radios? I have one at home, but I don't have one here.
We have the GRMS frequency.
We have GMRS, FMRS, and CB here, but I left my ham radio at home because we can't find it. The guy on the flatbed has gone home. Yeah.
No, he's riding along.
Oh, yeah, he's riding with
Flatbed's riding with
trucker.
another truck. He
Yeah,
hopped in another
Flatbed's
truck.
riding with another trucker.
Yeah, he's not leaving. He said he's staying to the end of the convoy. I was trying to scan. They ain't gonna be on 19 on that. Yeah, she's working.
Who?
Someone trying to get the squad set where we got. Everybody closer should
He told his streamer he's leaving.
I just know
His name was Art.
he might be. I mean, it was announced on the stage that he was staying. So.
Yeah, they announced on the stage that he was staying, so we're confused here.
I are confused. I are confusion.
Loading.
I are
Who's
confusion.
putting out Morse code? Someone's putting out Morse code, I was gonna say. If you had a piece of paper, I'd start writing it down. I'm confused now too. You guys are my type of streamer. Thank you. I wish we could get out in that line, but we're just waiting for everyone. So sorry to bore you guys while we wait. I know there's a lot of anticipation.
Backwatch.
Will announce the move this morning in tandem with the group of 7 countries, which include allies like Canada and the United Kingdom. The effort marks a further escalation in the global strategy to impose maximum economic pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin. In other breaking news, the Iran nuclear talks have been suspended because Russia has upended the negotiations. Let's go to White House reporter Tyler Pager for more on what to expect this morning. Tyler, let's talk about the president's announcement. What do we expect him to say, and why is he making this announcement? Why is he leading on this?
Yeah, this is the next step in a series of escalating measures we've seen from the United States in tandem with its allies to punish Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. We've seen a slow but steady stream of sanctions coming out of the White House. And I think one of the things that we're going to hear from President Biden is to outline why this is a crucial next step to impose further sanctions on Russia, and also to again talk about this unity with other allies. I think that is one of the big things that President Biden has wanted to emphasize throughout this process, that this is not the U.S. acting alone, that this is the U.S. and the Western world really coming together at this grave moment in security on the European continent, but really around the world, to punish Russia for what Biden has long said is an unprovoked invasion of Ukraine.
So, Tyler, let's talk about the communication strategy. Like, why is President Biden talking about this morning before he sort of continues with hunkering down with Democrats, talking about the midterms? And why not be doing, say, a nighttime address or something else? What is the strategy here for the White House to talk?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and one that we've been trying to get a better understanding of. This is not something we rarely see President Biden appear at a primetime address to give a big speech to the nation. Obviously, we saw him do that recently with the State of the Union, but that is sort of par for the course for that speech. But I think they are trying to move quite quickly on some of these sanctions. As you referenced, President Biden, as soon as this speech ends, will be heading up to Philadelphia to address House Democrats. But I think what they're trying to do is have Biden out in front speaking directly to the American people, and also to explain some of the domestic consequences that will
commander
come from some
killed
of these sanctions.
as tank convoy ambushed, drone footage shows. AP News, Russian strikes hit western Ukraine far from main offensive. CNBC, satellite images show large Russian convoy regrouping near Ukraine's capital. So not one thing in this that has to do with America, with our country, the one we're focused on, the one we need to be worried about, because the distractions they want you to focus on isn't here. You didn't see those?
To end these normal trade relations. So talk to us about where the power of the president begins and ends, and where the power of Congress begins and ends.
Yeah, to do anything on trade and end these normal trade rules, the Congress is going to have to act on it. So this is something, actually, that they wanted to act on it in a bipartisan way earlier this week. It was part of a measure of legislation that also included the Russia oil ban on Tuesday. And Speaker of the House said that she wanted this part to also be in that legislation. However, sources are saying the White House wanted lawmakers to put a pause on it while they discussed things with other allies and how they wanted to also join this effort of ending normal trade relations. So it is something Congress is going to have to act on. Congress is right now, both chambers are out of session. They will return next week, so I expect to hear more on a timeline of when they might vote on something to back up what the president plans to say today. But this is also following really a flurry of legislation related to Ukraine that has passed this week in a bipartisan way. As I mentioned, there was a ban on Russian oil imports that the House passed. Only 17 House members voted no on that. And that's something we just haven't seen in a very long time, something that is pretty much wholly bipartisan. And last night, the Senate passed, in a government spending bill, they passed a $13 billion aid package for Ukraine to send more weapons, help arm the region, also help out with humanitarian efforts as well. What's interesting about that is last week when I spoke to one of the senators who was instrumental in negotiating that aid package, he said it was around $10 billion, and over the last few days it's crept up and ended last night at $13.6 billion in the Senate. And again, that was passed in a bipartisan way. So you're really seeing Congress sort of really flex their muscles on what they can do for Ukraine. And I expect next week we might be hearing more of what are some next steps lawmakers feel they can do.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. James, I want to bring you in on this to talk about sort of some of the strategy here and just how punishing the White House is trying to be. How much of this is about what President Biden and Congress can do, and how much of this is about countries working in unity together? You know, this is happening in tandem with G7 nations.
That is a huge part of this story. The United States, if it were doing these sanctions unilaterally, would have much less of an impact. Europe's economies are far more interconnected with Russia's than ours, just largely because of proximity. And it's more than energy. It's a lot of goods. And so the fact that this was all being coordinated behind the scenes is a huge deal. And it's part of what President Biden said in his first speech after the invasion, which is turning the screws, that they're going to keep turning the screws. The farther Putin goes, the more Biden will turn the screws. And it really has been a remarkable level of consultation. I've talked with other members of the G7, and they've just been very happy with the level of communication and consultation from Biden, especially compared to last summer when a lot of those very same people were quite frustrated that the Americans were not consulting with them in the run-up to the pullout from Afghanistan.
And Tyler, let's talk about how this is impacting Americans. You know, there are political ramifications here. How is the White House thinking about the politics of this, but also like the true pocketbook impact on Americans?
Right, I think they're very aware of that, and there's two strands here. One is that early polling shows, or early by that I mean, you know, the crisis and the invasion just started, and I think it's still setting in for a lot of Americans. But Biden polling shows that many Americans approve of Biden's handling of this crisis. He's getting that what they call the rally around the flag effort, and really has been successful in painting Vladimir Putin as the villain in this situation, and that has been assisted by Ukrainian President Zelensky's emergence as the face of the Ukrainian resistance against the Russian invasion. And so I think Biden, as James said, in contrast to how he handled the Afghanistan withdrawal, is getting a lot of praise and support from Americans for how he has handled this situation. But domestically, I think there's a different picture beginning to unfold, which is that Americans showed some appetite for rising gas prices if it meant that they were going to punish Russia more severely. But the combination of rising inflation, which we've seen precipitously rise throughout Biden's tenure as president, and rising gas prices has some Democrats worried about what that is going to mean from a political perspective. We've seen the images of gas stations with prices rising to records we haven't seen in decades. And so I think there is particular concern among Democrats that they are going to ultimately be punished at the polls come November, given the rise in gas prices and other commodities as a result of these sanctions. I think what the White House is trying to do about this is to paint it as Vladimir Putin's fault, paint him as the villain and say it's his fault that the gas prices are rising. We'll see how successful that is.
Yeah, Putin's price hike. We do expect the president to come out in just a few moments and speak. Before that, though, let's go to James for the latest on what's happening in Ukraine. You know, overnight, Russia expanded airstrikes in the western part of Ukraine, which was really seen as a much safer zone. Tell us what we know.
Yeah, Libby, Putin has felt increasingly boxed in, frustrated by the resistance that he's facing from Ukrainian forces, and he's really stepping up his assault after, especially in the north, after a few days of what had appeared to be something akin to stalemate. Overnight, as you mentioned, the Russians launched significant airstrikes on the Lutsk airfield, which is over here, only about 50 miles from the Polish border, as well as Ivano-Frankivsk, another northwest target in Ukraine. This area has been largely spared. Obviously, at this point, we've now had more than 2.5 million refugees, almost all going out this direction. Meanwhile, the Russian convoy that has been sitting here now for more than a week is inching closer. The Pentagon saying this morning that in the last 24 hours, the Russian convoy has moved from 12 miles outside the city center of Kyiv to only 9 miles. The Pentagon also saying that Chernihiv, north of Kyiv, is essentially now surrounded and isolated by Russian forces. But the most brutal Russian fighting this week has come in the south. Mariupol is isolated from the outside world, and the mayor of that city has described the last 2 days there as Armageddon. The Russians bombed a maternity ward. It's really, really heavy fighting, and the Russians are consolidating some of their gains in the south, and the big prize for them remains Kyiv in the north.
Thank you so much, James. Tyler, let's talk about broadly what is on President Biden's agenda right now as he balances these foreign crises. You know, we're also seeing the negotiations break down over the Iran nuclear talks. That's because of Russia. The president, though, has to pivot now after he announces the expectation here that he wants Congress to stop normal trade relations with Russia. He then goes back to Democrats. So talk to us about this weekend and what is on his plate right now.
Yeah, I think it's quite a moment for the president. And I think we can take a step back and recall at the end of last year, as the president was heading into this year, they signaled a new strategy that they wanted the president to go out, travel more, speak directly to voters, try to, as pandemic restrictions were loosening, really connect again with voters outside of Washington and sell his agenda. Obviously, there are foreign crises that always interrupt presidents' best laid plans. And I think this is obviously one of those moments where he has not been able to go out and sell the agenda that the Democrats passed last year as aggressively. So I think what will be interesting to hear is what President Biden says exactly to House Democrats today in Philadelphia. From there, he'll go to Camp David, where we expect him to continue to be engaged with allies and his national security team to deal with the unfolding crisis in Ukraine. But in terms of the domestic politics, I think what I'm interested in and what we're watching for is how the president pieces this all together, right? From what he has done on the domestic front, whether that's, passing the bipartisan infrastructure bill or the stimulus coronavirus package earlier last year, and then tying that together with Ukraine as part of this larger agenda that Democrats are trying to put forward, that they're the party that handled COVID and handled the domestic problems and put the country on the right path with regard to infrastructure, but then secondly, can handle world crises and act on the world stage as a leader. So I think that is what the president's challenge is to both put forward and message effectively this domestic agenda while also dealing with unforeseen foreign crises that continue to unfold.
Tyler, how much of the conversation among Democrats is about what's happening on the global stage, and how much are they able to pivot back to domestic issues?
Right. I think right now much of the conversation is focused on what's happening at the global stage, but also how it relates to everyday Americans' lives. We just heard Sean Patrick Maloney, the chair of a congressman from New York, who's the chair of the Democratic Congressional Committee, speaking to reporters in Philadelphia, saying he's really concerned about gas prices. That is something that affects nearly every American across the country. And as those prices rise, there's going to be less appetite from voters to see they're paying a lot more every time they go to fill up their car. So I think we're seeing the interplay between these foreign and domestic issues, and Democrats are acutely aware that it could be a problem for them politically as they head into November and midterms that are always difficult for an incumbent president's party.
All right, Tyler Pager, thank you so much. James, let's go back to you for more on the latest in Kyiv. The capital of Ukraine is a place that we are all watching so closely. What do we know?
Well, in the last few days, the population of Kyiv has been cut in half. Literally 2 million residents have left this wonderful European capital with so much history. It is the big focus of Putin going forward. The Dnieper River is really the dividing line in Ukraine between east and west. And there's a city, if you keep going south down the Dnieper River, called Dnipro, appropriately enough. It had been spared Russian shelling, but overnight it also faced its first airstrikes. Video verified by the Post confirms major destruction, including the destruction of a large shoe factory. And part of the concern is that this is a piece of the Russian effort to encircle Kyiv from the south, the east, the west, the north, and come in like a pincer movement. And one of the concerns among diplomats in the Pentagon is that because so many people have left the city, the Russians are going to say people have had the chance to leave and use that as some kind of excuse or justification to begin just a relentless aerial bombardment of the city and then a seizure in kind of an urban warfare style. I mentioned a few minutes ago the convoy that has been sort of sitting here. There is evidence based on satellite imagery that the convoy is dispersing somewhat and preparing to encircle Kyiv as part of a final assault. A lot of bridges here have been taken out to make it harder for the Russians to advance. Meanwhile, you see up here in the pink zone, the pink is sort of where the Russian troop presence is Chernobyl, right on the Belarusian border. And this has been a scary few days. The Chernobyl plant went offline. The Russians basically cut the power. That is incredibly dangerous. The International Atomic Energy Agency said that could increase the risk of fallout because power is necessary to cool down the radioactive waste. Belarus has said that they have restored power. The IAEA saying this morning they're waiting for confirmation that Chernobyl's back online. But the biggest nuclear disaster ever happened here. Russia has moved its forces through and is in solid control, but this continues to be an area of concern, if not alarm.
Rhonda Colvin, let's bring you into the conversation about just what Congress is watching. You know, I know you've been checking in with members of the caucus that really focuses on Ukrainian issues, that looks at foreign relations. Democrats are at this retreat right now, but there is a real question about how they're listening to constituents and monitoring what people back home are thinking and saying about this war and what they're willing to sacrifice in terms of prices at the pump and everything else. What does Congress need to weigh right now as they watch what's happening?
Well, they're certainly going to have to figure out this balancing act between approaching the issues that Americans are caring about, rising inflation, and of course how rising gas prices is an added burden onto that. Right now, and I believe Tyler said this earlier, is that a lot of Americans feel if this is the price I need to pay for helping out in this effort right now, then that's okay. But the real question is, how long is that going to last? You know, politics is local. local, as the saying goes, and once things hit folks' pocketbooks or the bills on their kitchen table, it may change a little bit. And of course, we have, months now before we're in that midterm election that they're all eyeing. I think on the domestic front, I've talked about how I've seen a lot of bipartisan energy on these aid packages to Ukraine, the sanctions, all of that. But where you're seeing some divisions grow is the question of air power, the no-fly zone, and what strategy should there be in helping Ukraine out in air power. I know 40 senators yesterday wrote a letter to President Biden saying they disagreed with the administration's stance on using air power and helping out Poland getting jets over to Ukraine. They're pressing the president on that, and those are 40 Republican senators. So you're seeing a discussion rise and possible divisions on the question of what do we do next when it means military power, specifically air power. So that's one thing I'm going to be watching on the Hill in the coming days, because that question seems to be intensifying as we're seeing these really devastating images, and I think Congress is acting in a reactionary way where they're looking at what should we do next while we're either waiting for potential military action or whatever the next issue is.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. James, let's talk about that question of the skies over Ukraine and military power. There has been a lot of concern, obviously, on the part of national security experts on behalf of the White House, talking about just how assertive to be when it comes to countering Russia directly. So tell us more about the NATO countries and what can be done to defend the NATO countries, as we just heard the Vice President Kamala Harris talking about, and what can be done to help Ukraine.
Yeah, Libby, the White House understandably wants to avoid World War III, and Vladimir Putin is coercively using his nuclear weapons to prevent the United States from putting any boots on the ground in Ukraine. Ukraine is not a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary and Romania are. Moldova is not. There is obviously a lot of panic among the NATO members about troops coming in. If that happened, President Biden has said repeatedly that the United States will do whatever it takes, which would include potentially nuclear weapons, to stop Russia. That obviously would lead to all-out war. In Ukraine, the administration has been careful to send defensive weapons rather than offensive weapons. The big brouhaha this week with Poland was that Poland has about 24 Russian MiGs, Soviet era, more than 30 years old. The Ukrainians want these MiGs because their pilots actually know how to fly them, as opposed to F-15s or F-16s. But Poland didn't want to be seen as a co-belligerent with Ukraine, so they threw that hot potato into our lap by announcing that they were going to send the 24 MiGs to Ramstein U.S. Air Force Base in Germany, and then the Americans could deliver the planes into Ukraine, or Ukrainian pilots could take delivery from the Americans. There was a feeling in the Pentagon and in the administration that this was high risk, relatively low reward. What the Pentagon says they're doing instead of sending these jets is potentially sending in stronger defensive weapons than the Stinger missiles and Javelins that the Ukrainians are already getting planefuls of by the day, delivered by American planes to air bases right along the border, and then trucked usually through mountain passes by Ukrainian forces. The challenge, Libby, is that because you can't put any American boots on the ground, if you put American boots into Ukraine, it would lead to escalation. That is the concern. There are certain things that the United States cannot give Ukraine. For example, a Patriot missile defense system, which is incredibly effective and could shoot down lots of Russian planes at very high altitudes. That the Ukrainians don't know how to operate that system. So those missiles would need to be operated by American troops, but Russia could bomb those positions and kill Americans, and that could pull the United States farther in. So it's sort of this constant cost-benefit analysis. I have some reporting that the The Americans are moving towards sending man pads, which are stronger than the weapons that the Ukrainians have so far. But overall, as this is all happening, the U.S. military continues to send tens of thousands of troops into the NATO countries to shore up their borders, to reassure these countries, and to present a united front that Putin will not be able to move beyond Ukraine. This is becoming less of a concern as Putin's forces get bogged down. The panic has subsided a little bit in NATO. There's still obviously long-term strategic concern, but the original fear was that Putin was just going to be able to take Ukraine in 2 or 3 days, that the resistance would be light, that his military, which he believed he had modernized, would use overwhelming force. And then there was concern he could also go into Moldova. In fact, there still is, because Moldova is not a member of NATO, and the United States wouldn't be obligated to defend it. So this whole region is nervous, as are the Baltic states up here, and that's why Kamala Harris went and made a trip around this region the last few days, going to these different countries that are right on the border with Ukraine.
This is live coverage from the Washington Post. We are awaiting President Biden to speak in just moments. He's expected to ask Congress to eliminate trade preferences for Russia. This is something being done in tandem with G7 nations. This is significant because it is yet another step in trying to penalize Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russia for the invasion of Ukraine. James, let's talk through the humanitarian concerns. And there has been an expectation, or really sort of the falsehood, that Russia has said there'll be these humanitarian corridors. The expectation because that would allow people to escape, but Russia has not followed through on pledges to keep them as true, safe corridors. So let's talk about the realities on the ground in terms of the human toll and impact right now.
Yeah, it is the biggest humanitarian crisis in Europe since World War II. More than 2.5 million refugees, and the challenge is that in the eastern part of the country, it is a long distance. Ukraine is the size of Texas. From here to here is like going from New York to Chicago. And so if you're in Kharkiv, the second biggest city in the country, which has just been shelled repeatedly, a city of 1.5 million people, the Russians are saying you're welcome to escape into Russia, but of course the Kharkivians don't want to go into Russia, and so the Russians are claiming that they have these corridors there so that they can the people can escape. But then even in some of those corridors, even in the humanitarian corridors to escape the city, the Russians are still shelling and bombing, and there have been a couple notorious episodes, especially around Mariupol down here, but also Kharkiv. And these are primarily Russian speakers, which is ostensibly who Putin claims he's intervening to protect. That's what they're saying on state media. The big issue now, Libby, is the really scary issue is chemical weapons. There's going to be a hearing of the United Nations Security Council today. Russia is one of those countries that just flat out lies all the time. And often they kind of are doing the very things that they accuse the United States and the West of doing. And they are increasingly saying that the West and Ukraine are preparing to use chemical weapons. There is credible intelligence from European and American sources that there have been movements of Russia's chemical weapons. And there is a lot of alarm that as Russian forces faced resistance, Russia will use these horror terror weapons.
So let's be clear here. So the UN Security Council is meeting. This is at Russia's request, and they are saying they have concerns about Ukrainians using chemical weapons. There is no evidence for that whatsoever. The Ukrainians, the Americans, and other leaders have come out saying that is just a lie and propaganda. But the fear, as you said, is Russia pointing the finger while they're planning to do or preparing to do the exact thing they are accusing others of?
Exactly.
So, James, let's talk about the politics of this a little bit here domestically. You know, as Americans watch these real-time images on their screens and they learn more, there has been a willingness the polls show, by Americans to take it in the wallet a little bit, right? To accept high gas prices and such. But how much do politicians here in the United States have to think about the calculus that Americans are willing to make in terms of money, defense, humanitarian crises? It is, you know, we heard members of Congress even asking the intelligence heads this week, even though they know the answer, why are we defending a NATO country and not defending Ukrainians just because of a few feet of a border?
Right. They have to think about the politics, and this, you know, the MiG issue I was talking about a couple minutes ago with the polls, that really was the first time that you saw sort of a more partisan schism emerge here in Washington since the invasion. 40 Republican senators signed a letter saying, send these planes, the U.S. should do it. You have a lot of people saying there should be a no-fly zone, which the administration is unwilling to do, and even a lot of Republicans like Marco Rubio say would be a dramatic escalation and lead potentially to World War III. So it's easy for the opposition party to criticize the party in power for not doing enough, and Democrats feel a little burned already and quite weary of the politics of this, which is very much fluid. For example, at the start of the week, Republicans were hammering Biden to ban imports of Russian oil, and then as soon as he did, those same Republicans on Capitol Hill were attacking Biden for rising gas prices. They say there's not enough domestic production. You know, they can defend their position, but the White House very much feels like this is evidence of Republicans trying to have it both ways and not presenting as united a front as they'd like. It's one thing to ask people, you know, if they're willing to make sacrifices at a top line level. A lot of people right now will say yes, especially as they see these horrifying images. It's something else when prices continue to hit records every day, when, you know, poorer Americans who don't follow the news as closely all of a sudden are spending more and more of their household income on gas. But in absolute terms, when you adjust for inflation, gas prices actually have been higher because cars have become more fuel efficient and because fewer Americans are driving shorter distances. We actually see people spending a much lower percentage of their overall income on gasoline than during the oil shocks of the 1970s. So there's some insulation there, but as Tyler was saying a couple minutes ago, Sean Maloney, the chair of the DCCC, admitting that Democrats are quite nervous about the political impact of gas prices, but there is this, right now, overriding sense that the United States has this moral obligation and responsibility to do something, but also that if the U.S. doesn't do something now, it's going to be more expensive later when Russia goes beyond Ukraine.
Thanks so much, James. Rhonda Colvin, let's go to you for the questions that members of Congress are asking. You've been covering these hearings this week with these high-profile leaders of the intelligence community here in the United States. What was on the minds of members of Congress, and what did they learn in that public setting? Oh, and I might hold you right there, Rhonda. We'll return to that line of questioning in just a moment. President Biden has just come into the Roosevelt Room, so let's go to the podium now.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I've just spoken for some time with President Zelensky of Ukraine. I told him, as I have each and every time we've spoken, the United States stands with the people of Ukraine, and as they bravely fight to defend their country, and they are doing that. And as Putin continues his merciless assault, the United States and our allies and partners continue to work in lockstep to ramp up the economic pressures on Putin and to further isolate Russia in the global stage. Later today, together with other NATO allies and the G7, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, as well as the European Union, we're going to jointly announce several new steps to squeeze Putin and hold him even more accountable for his aggression against Ukraine. And I want to speak to a few of those points today. First, each of our nations is going to take steps to deny most favored nation status to Russia. A most favored nation status designation means two countries have agreed to trade with each other under the best possible terms. Low tariffs, few barriers of trade, and the highest possible imports allowed. In the United States, we call this permanent normal trade relations, PNTR. It's the same thing. Revoking PNTR for Russia is going to make it harder for Russia to do business with the United States. And doing it in unison with other nations to make up half of the global economy will be another crushing blow to the Russian economy. It's already suffering very badly from our sanctions. And I want to thank Speaker Pelosi, Leader McCarthy, Leaders Schumer and McConnell, and Senators Wyden and Crapo, Representatives Neal and Brady for their bipartisan leadership on this in the Congress. I would like to offer a special thanks to Speaker Pelosi, who's been a strong advocate for revoking PNTR and who agreed to hold off on that in the House until I could line up all of our key allies to keep us in complete unison. Unity among our allies is critically important, as you all know, from my perspective. Many issues divide us in Washington, but standing for democracy in Ukraine, pushing Russia's aggression, should not be one of those issues. The free world is coming together to confront Putin. Our two parties here at home are leading the way. And with that bipartisan cooperation, I'm looking forward to signing into law the bill revoking PNTR, which is, again, most people think of it as most favored nation status. We're also taking a further step of banning imports of goods from several signature sectors of the Russian economy, including seafood, vodka, and diamonds. And we're going to continue to squeeze Putin. The G7 will seek to deny Russia the ability to borrow from leading multinational institutions, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Putin is an aggressor. He is the aggressor, and Putin must pay the price. He cannot pursue a war that threatens the very foundations, which he's doing, the very foundations of international peace and stability, and then ask for financial help from the international community. The G7 is also stepping up pressure on corrupt Russian billionaires. We're adding new names to the list of oligarchs and their families that we're targeting. And we're increasing coordination among the G7 countries to target and capture their ill-begotten gains. They support Putin. They steal from the Russian people, and they seek to hide their money in our countries. They're part of that kleptocracy that exists in Moscow, and they must share in the pain of these sanctions. And while we're going after these, their super yachts and their vacation homes and worth hundreds of millions of dollars, we're also going to make it harder for them to buy high-end products manufactured in our country. We're banning the export of luxury goods to Russia. They're also the latest steps we're taking, but they're not the last steps we're going to take. And as I said, at the beginning of all these steps, we're going to hit Putin harder because the United States and our closest allies and partners are acting in unison. The totality of our sanctions and export controls is crushing the Russian economy. The ruble has lost more than half its value. They tell me it takes about 200 rubles to equal $1 these days. Moscow Stock Exchange has been closed for 2 weeks because they know the moment it opens, it will probably collapse. Credit rating agencies has downgraded Russia's government to junk status, its economy to junk status. The list of businesses, international corporations leaving Russia is growing by the day. We're also continuing to close corporations with allies and partners to make sure that the close cooperation we continue to have, the Ukrainian people are able to defend their own nation. The United States has sent more than $1 billion in security assistance to Ukraine over the last year, including anti-armor and anti-air capabilities, taking out tanks and planes and helicopters, with new shipments arriving every day. We, the United States, are also facilitating significant shipments of security assistance from our allies and partners to Ukraine. And the humanitarian front, we're working closely with the UN and humanitarian organizations to support the people of Ukraine who have been displaced by the violence in Ukraine. We're providing tens of thousands of tons of humanitarian supplies, food, water, medicines, coming via truck and train every single day. Yesterday in Poland, Vice President Harris announced an additional $53 million in additional humanitarian support to Ukraine. That brings the total humanitarian assistance to $107 million in just 2 weeks. We've joined this effort with more than 30 other countries who are providing hundreds of millions more. And last night, to their great credit, the Congress passed a bipartisan spending bill that included an additional $13.6 billion in new assistance to the Ukrainian people. And I look forward to signing that immediately. I also want to be clear, though. We will make sure Ukraine has weapons to defend against an invading Russian force. We will send money and food and aid to save the Ukrainian people. And I will welcome Ukrainian refugees. We should welcome them here with open arms if they need access. And we're going to provide more support for Ukraine. We're going to continue to stand together with our allies in Europe and send unmistakable message. We'll defend every single inch of NATO territory with the full might of the united and galvanized NATO. We will not fight a war against Russia in Ukraine. Direct confrontation between NATO and Russia is World War III, something we must strive to prevent. But we already know Putin's war against Ukraine will never be a victory. He hoped to dominate Ukraine without a fight. He failed. He hoped to fracture European resolve. He failed. He hoped to weaken the transatlantic alliance. He failed. He hoped to split apart American democracies in terms of our positions. He failed. The American people are united. The world is united. And we stand with the people of Ukraine. We will not let autocrats and would-be emperors dictate the direction of the world. Democracies are rising to meet this moment, rallying the world to the side of peace and the side of security. We're showing our strength, and we will not falter. God bless all of you. God bless Ukraine, and God bless our troops.
The White House has said that Russia may use chemical weapons or create a false flag operation to use them. What evidence have you seen showing that? And would the U.S. have a military response if Putin does launch a chemical weapons attack?
I'm not going to speak about the intelligence, but Russia would pay a severe price if they use chemicals.
Extending the federal gas tax?
Will this make Putin stop his war?
President Biden calling on Congress to strip away Russia's trade privileges with the United States, and the president saying the G7 nations are united in removing Russia's trade abilities. President Biden also announced he's signing an executive order banning the export of luxury goods into Russia and will ban the import of items that are considered signature items coming out of Russia, from seafood to vodka to diamonds. He also announced that more Russian oligarchs' names are being added to a sanctions list, and the president praised the unity of the international condemnation of Russia and President Putin. President Biden also saying that democracies are rising to meet this moment. Let's go to my guests now. First off, Rhonda Colvin, let's talk about what the president outlined there. And I do want to start maybe at the back end where he was asked one question about chemical weapons. Can we start there and work backwards?
Yeah, that was just one sentence, and he left the room, but it had some weight to it. And he said Russia will pay a severe price if they use chemical weapons. And that was in response to a reporter who asked about potential false flag operations involving chemical warfare. So he just left with one question. And we all know, because we've covered President Biden either as a senator or as president, he usually will kind of waver a little bit at the podium, take a few questions. But that one sentence said it all. So this also points to how members of Congress heard from the intelligence heads this week, and they were told in pretty stark form that this is going to be a long game, that Putin, they cannot discern if Putin has an end game politically here, and that this is a pretty dangerous situation with someone who has no end game or calculation to what success is in this. And what the memory of those hearings, one thing that is seared in my mind is the director of the CIA said that this is going to be an ugly few weeks. So just these short sentences we're hearing from our president as well as our intelligence heads kind of summarize the situation right now. It's developing and many things may unfold. In terms of what he discussed there, you mentioned the oligarchs. That's an ongoing situation. And also revoking what's known as the PNRT, that is also known as Most Favored Nation status, and what that will do is end permanent trade relations with Russia. And he did note something that I discussed earlier about how the House and Senate, they were ready to vote on legislation that would have done this, but he asked them to hold off. He named that Speaker Pelosi was sort of leading the way on this. She, over last weekend, mentioned she wanted this to be on the House floor in short order. So he also said bipartisan members of the Senate are also working to get this together. So I would assume probably in a few hours, we'll start hearing from some of those leaders on the Hill who may be responding to what he just said, may give us a sense of a timeline in terms of when they will vote on this. They're back in next Monday and Tuesday. So I would assume, since they were already ready to vote on this, that they would pick this up very quickly.
All right, thanks so much, Rhonda. Let's go now to Odessa, Ukraine, and our colleague, Washington Post video journalist Whitney Leeming. Whitney, it's so good to see you. First of all, let's talk about what's going on in Odessa, this very important port city. How does it feel there right now?
You know, Odessa feels a little different from a lot of the other cities I've been in over the past 3 weeks. I've been all over the eastern part of the country since the invasion started. And Odessa knows it's going to be a huge target. It knows the war is coming to them. But right now, there's still people moving around. There's still food on the shelves. There aren't huge lines at ATMs and grocery stores. So people are aware, but also a little bit more relaxed than we're seeing in a lot of other places in Ukraine.
How are people preparing, Whitney? I mean, what are they doing as they watch what's unfolding in other parts of the country?
You know, there's definitely barricades and metal hedgehogs all over the city. There's a huge armed presence inside the city, kind of locking down key areas. We're also starting to see a lot of work to protect some of the very famous historical sites inside the city. There was a famous statue down by the waterfront that was just sandbagged the other day. The beautiful opera house that's part of the key point of downtown is heavily fortified to protect it. And people are preparing, like they're slowly stocking up on goods, they're taking care of their neighbors, and they're preparing for what they know will be coming.
Do you have a sense of people who've left? I mean, do you have a sense of how many people are choosing to leave or are able to leave versus are choosing to stay or have to stay?
Yeah, we don't have official numbers at the moment, but every day we do see large numbers leaving on these government-provided trains to the west, mainly women and children like we're seeing everywhere else in the country. But there's also some caravans that go out of the city every day. You know, long lines of buses kind of leave down the main roads. But there's also a huge part of the population that is very committed to staying. Odessa is kind of a personality unto itself in this country. People often, you know, say they're Odessan first and then Ukrainian. And while this war has very much made them say I'm Ukrainian first, there's a huge passion to the city and a saying of Odessa Mama, which kind of translates into that Odessa is a mother and the mother will provide for them. And so a lot of people want to stay, but we are seeing a huge part of the elderly population that is either refusing to leave or it feels like they were unable to leave. And that's going to be a problem as the city gets, as the Russians come closer and closer to the city.
Let's talk about the capital of Kyiv. We've been watching these satellite images of the Russian convoy on the outskirts of the city. What's the latest?
Yeah, so you know the convoy was stalled for several days, and while we haven't seen any huge advances, we are starting to see this convoy move and reposition itself, which suggests that there might be a renewed push to take the capital. And you're seeing them slowly kind of try to encircle the city. But unless they're able to cut off the access from the south, it's going to be very hard to take over the city in the next few days.
All right. Thank you so much, Whitney Leeming. Final thoughts from you. What are you watching for in the next couple of days?
We're going to see in Odessa, we're going to see how the Russian military advances through on the east, especially through Mykolaiv. And I feel like Odessa might be safe until Russia has more of a control on the side.
All right, thank you so much, Whitney. Really appreciate all of your reporting. We're going to let you go and watch a piece that Whitney filed just recently. This is about local musicians who staged an impromptu concert in Odessa. This is in front of the city's iconic opera and ballet theater. Again, a piece filed by our colleague Whitney Leeming, who you just saw.
Музыка, ну, во-первых, она доступна любому человеку, имеющему уши, любому человеку, понимающему звуки, любому человеку, которому нужно сопереживание и поддержка. Нужна музыка.
We're going to try to bring that to you after we repair some audio issues. It was outside of the Opera House, though, an area that Whitney talked about, how it's been so fortified and protected because it is seen as part of the jewel and what makes Odessa so special and so beautiful. Let's go to James Hohman to talk about the strategic importance of Odessa. You know, Whitney was talking to us about the cultural importance, sort of the importance to the people, but let's talk about why it's also important strategically, James.
Yeah, if we can look at the map of Ukraine, this is the map of Kyiv that we're looking at. Odessa is where Whitney is and filmed that powerful piece that I'm looking forward to seeing. And it really is pretty striking how much it has been spared thus far. And Whitney did a great job explaining why Odessans kind of like to think of themselves as Odessans first and Ukrainians second. But it's an extremely strategically valuable target. This is some of the richest, most fertile soil in the world, certainly in Europe. Ukraine, one of the largest grain producers in the world, and all of that grain is exported through the port of Odessa. There's a major airport there, and there's a major port. So it's not just history and beauty, it is strategically important, and it's frankly been surprising and even a little baffling to the U.S. military that Putin hasn't gone there earlier. He annexed Crimea in 2014, and he has controlled the Luhansk and the Donetsk regions down in this part of the country. And so there was some speculation among U.S. military strategists that there would be an amphibious landing of Odessa because there actually are quite a lot of Russian ships in the Black Sea, and the thinking was that Russia would try to get control of the full southern coast of Ukraine. Thus far, that hasn't happened, but there's no reason to think that it won't soon. There is increasingly, Libby, conversations about what does an end game look like. Is there some kind of scenario where there is a protracted stalemate and perhaps sort of Ukraine keeps Odessa and the western part of the country, and Russia establishes domination over the east, and there's kind of a stalemate, the same way there was, frankly, after Russia seized control of Crimea and the Donetsk and Luhansk regions 8 years ago. The Ukrainians seem very against that. There were negotiations in Turkey yesterday between the Ukrainian foreign minister and the Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. Those went nowhere. The Ukrainians feel like they are in no position to give an inch because Russia will take a mile. And if they accept some sort of negotiated settlement now, what's to stop Russia a year from now from coming back and demanding more? Vladimir Putin has made clear in his statements to the Russian people that he doesn't think Ukraine should exist as an independent country anymore. And so that is very top of mind as Ukraine looks to see what happens in Odessa.
James, let's talk about the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and what he's doing, as well as the doors that he's still keeping open. I mean, even as he is loudly condemning what Russia is doing and sharing the horrors of what's happening on the ground, he's constantly had a line of conversation and communication open.
Yeah, Zelensky is a native Russian speaker. He grew up in the eastern, more Russian-aligned part of the country. His television show that made him famous, which was basically the Ukrainian version of The West Wing, in which he played the president, was recorded in Russian and broadcast in Russia. So there are a lot of cultural links, and Zelensky has hoped to break through to Russians who are very beholden to state TV, especially since independent TV has been criminalized. Zelensky has delivered multiple speeches in Russian that are explicitly aimed at the Russian people and trying to break through the Russian government's propaganda. And a lot of people in the West thought that that was somewhat naive and wishful thinking. It has turned out that Zelensky was shrewder and more sophisticated than many American leaders thought in the run-up to the war, when he was criticizing the Biden administration for being overly alarmist and trying to get people not to flee the country before the attack. But Zelensky, he wants to save Ukrainian sovereignty, and he has demonstrated by his actions, by staying in the capital of Kyiv, that he is willing to die for his country. And that has earned him a lot of credibility with the Ukrainian people. Frankly, I think it's one of the reasons that Biden was able to get the whole G7 on board for what he just announced, because he is this sort of inspiring figure, and he is narrating this all as it's unfolding. He gave another dramatic speech last night where he said, "We will never be slaves in Ukraine, and we will never surrender," very kind of Churchillian language. So he is one of the big factors that has led to Ukraine holding its own, relatively speaking, for now 2.5 weeks.
Rhonda Colvin, you were talking to us just a little while ago about these intelligence chiefs who've been testifying on Capitol Hill and some of the stark and simple warnings they were giving about how this could be an ugly few weeks. Let's talk about members of Congress and how they approached those hearings, what sorts of questions they had. And of course, this was an open session rather than behind closed doors, but it did give us a sense, especially in the House, which is sort of, has much more diversity in terms of where members are coming from and who they're representing. What did we learn in terms of what they were asking, what was on their minds?
Well, just to give some background, this week the House and the Senate Intelligence Committees held an annual meeting, basically, separately on Tuesday and Thursday, where they heard from our 5 heads of our intelligence community. So that means the Avril Haines, the Director of National Intelligence. We also heard from the CIA Director, Director of the FBI, and they discuss annually, and they prepare a report of what are the global threats facing the U.S. as well as our allies right now. So it usually runs the gamut of all sorts of things, whether it's cyber attacks, whether it's bioweapons, what terrorist groups are gaining strength right now and in what regions, and they submit that report to Congress. But this week, the meetings were dominated with talk and questions of Ukraine, and House members, I sat in that meeting. House members, when it began, really were a captive audience for these 5 intelligence heads. They were asking questions about Ukraine. You could sense the anxiety that they, as lawmakers, as well as people who represent districts, had when they want to know about basics. And the rising question really was, what's inside Putin's mind right now, and how do we get ahead, or how should we address this situation? And all of our intelligence heads said that this is a pretty dangerous situation. He has no calculus or endgame that they can discern, which makes this dangerous, and that he's also been stewing for the last few years, and that he won't be embarrassed. In his mind, he won't be embarrassed by the situation. So they also held a closed-door session after those open hearings where they could ask more classified questions. But we really got a sense of where lawmakers are what they're thinking about this week. And in the Senate hearing that happened yesterday, I watched that. That did cover a little bit more ground in terms of some of the other threats that the U.S. faces, whether it's cyber attacks or other things coming from other regions of the world. But again, this is an annual meeting that happens on the Hill, and this week it was all about Ukraine.
Rhonda, you bring up the other threats and other issues talked about. Let's drill into one of those, this question about the Iran nuclear talks. Our colleague Liz Sly has been covering them closely, so I want to bring her into the conversation. Liz, what do we know about this latest breakdown? The reporting is that the talks have been upended by Russia.
Yes, well, what's happened today is that the negotiators have announced that they're going on a pause. That seems a rather polite way of saying they're taking a long and indefinite break. It's not a breakdown, it's not a rupture. Nobody's walked out, but with these new demands from Russia, nobody can see a way around getting a deal for now. Iran seems to not want to break with Russia to do a bilateral deal with the US, which would be possible. It would be possible to continue the deal without Russia, but that would take a lot of extra negotiations. So from now on, there aren't going to be any Iran talks. We're going to have to wait and see if there's any possible way of bringing them back.
So how big of a setback is this? I mean, you've taken us through this so well, but we're kind of still left with the question of where do things go from here?
It's a bit difficult to say, really, because very little is really known about all the parties' exact positions, which aren't always the same as what they say in public. But from what we can gather, and I think the big worry is that Russia has realized that first of all, realized that it has some leverage over the West by its participation is necessary for something that the United States and the Western countries want. The United States and the Western countries are imposing big new sanctions on Russia, so why should Russia go along with their desire to get the Iran nuclear deal back? It could be as simple as just thwarting them from having a success. Another way of looking at it is that Russia could use these talks as a bargaining chip to secure something it wants out of negotiations in Ukraine. And yet another way of looking at it is that Russia is very happy for there to be high oil prices at the moment, because that causes pain in the West. It punishes the countries that have sanctioned it, and it helps Russia's own income because Russia's self-oil. And bringing Iran back to the deal would add a fairly significant amount of oil back into the market. It wouldn't completely wipe out all the huge gains in the price of oil we've seen, but it would bring them down by maybe 10, 15% or something like that. And why should Russia give the West some cheaper oil right now?
So, Liz, certainly Russia sort of throttling this situation is not unpredictable, right? Given the international outcry about Russia's actions in Ukraine. So talk to us about some of what's expected versus some of the surprises. I mean, was there really an expectation that progress could move forward with Russia at the table?
Well, as you say, it's not surprising, but surprisingly, it did seem there was an expectation that progress could move forward with Russia at the table. People were saying that they didn't think the Ukraine crisis should have an impact on the talks. They were hoping it wouldn't. But I think, as you pointed out, the general huge shift that we've seen in the geopolitical climate in the world in the past few weeks makes it really, really unlikely that the US and Iran are going to, the US and Russia are going to get together and do a deal. Everything's changed. I know they tried to keep it separate, but in the end, it wasn't possible.
How realistic would it be to cut Russia out in some way? I mean, I know you mentioned that it would just slow things down and sort of be almost like reinventing the wheel. Is that a practical path forward?
It's not impractical. It's not impossible. Russia has a role in implementation of the deal. It takes out some of the stockpiles of enriched uranium that Iran has in excess of its requirements under the JCPOA. Somebody else could be found to do that. But I think a big issue is, does Iran at this moment in time want a big rift with Russia when it still doesn't trust the United States? The United States pulled out of the deal before. If the United States were to pull out again, which isn't impossible under a future Republican administration, which could happen in 2 years' time, then it would need Russia. So I think there's a big political issue here in that Iran and Russia can't break ranks at the moment, and you can't do a deal without Iran and Russia.
Yeah, and finally, Liz, just break down for us what this means in terms of U.S. relationships with Iran. Where does this leave things?
Well, it leaves things very much hanging in the air. They have made extensive progress, and I should also add here that there are some issues that haven't been resolved. They're said to be very small. People were so close to expecting this deal to be done that they erected a podium in the hotel to I think that there is some sunlight in the sense that Iran and America maybe have realized they could do a deal. There might be a push now to try and get Iran to talk to America directly, which might be a way of circumventing some of these issues. I mean, solving the crisis of Iran's efforts to get a nuclear bomb doesn't have to be done in the format of the JCPOA. I mean, in principle, there's another diplomatic path that could be followed. But the diplomatic path thus far has been so slow and arduous. And how much time is there, and how much time has anybody got to give to it, and how much bandwidth does anybody have? And this administration, there'll be elections in America in 2 years' time, so there is a feeling that the clock is ticking here, and there isn't a lot of time to save this from perhaps what could be a collapse with a whimper and not a bang.
Liz, I know I said that was my final question, but I have one more thing to ask you about that a colleague is bringing to my attention. What does this mean for Americans who are being held prisoner in Iran right now? Is this a blow to any prospects of their release?
Yes, I would imagine it is a blow. Now, as I said, that it's not impossible that Iran and America could continue some kind of bilateral arrangement to try and sort out some of the issues between them and put the relationship on a better footing somehow. And that could involve a prisoner exchange. I think it was expected as part of the agreement to get the deal back, although it's not part of the deal, that there would be a prisoner exchange, and we were looking for that to happen before a final, or around the time of a final deal. So I should say that they shouldn't be without hope, but it is a bit of a setback.
Liz Sly reporting on the breakdown in talks over the Iran nuclear deal. Liz, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's bring Rhonda Colvin back into the conversation for final thoughts as we look at this morning, everything that's been happening in Ukraine, President Biden's announcement of trying to strip away Russia's trade status with the United States, and this latest we're hearing from Liz. Rhonda?
Yeah, as a Hill reporter, my focus is going to be on the next steps Congress takes on this issue, all of these issues, really. From this week alone, you've seen a lot of bipartisan support for things like aid packages, sanctions, all of these things. And I expect that to continue, especially when it comes to any sort of humanitarian aid. So I'll be looking at what exactly do they do when they come back to town next week. Where does this story go from the congressional perspective? And what's next, too, on this growing discussion about how involved do we get concerning air power and no-fly zones? I've heard an increase of voices in that discussion, and just wondering weeks and months from now, where does that go?
We can see President Biden there. He's heading to Philadelphia, and this will be an opportunity for him to deliver remarks at the House Democratic Caucus Issues Conference. President Biden heading across the lawn there as he heads out. The president announcing today new sanctions, new actions against Russia, rather, trying to strip them of their trade status in collaboration with G7 countries, also announcing sanctions against more oligarchs and banning imports and exports related to Russia goods and trade. James Homan, final thoughts to you as we watch the president here.
Yeah, Libby, the phrase that was most striking in the president's speech was that these are not the last steps. There is more to come. He's working to get allies on board. I was struck with some of the language in that speech. It, in many ways, was the most resolute speech that the president has delivered since the invasion, just in terms of the strength of the words that he used. He came in and he said, we're going to put the squeeze on Putin. He used messy words. He obviously memorably talked about stopping the sale of caviar, vodka, and diamonds. But he didn't just talk about oligarchs. He talked about the kleptocracy. Then he said that we will not let a would-be emperor rule the world. He has not described Putin that way in public. So this really was a speech from someone who's trying to convey to the American people that he is taking this invasion seriously, even if he is not willing to use direct military force, because that could lead, as he said, using more strong language in the speech, World War III.
James, contrast what President Biden did this morning with what he is to do this afternoon as he heads to Philadelphia and talks with Democrats.
It's going to be a friendly audience. These Democrats are nervous about their reelection. The feeling among Democrats is that the House is probably lost. Just yesterday, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee released an updated list of the battleground races.
What they're doing with these mandates for children. So, again, and I literally on the way here this morning, I was like, you know, I mean, again, it's day 18 for us. I get it. And all that went away as soon as I seen those trucks rolling out, the cars rolling out. Four-wheelers are leading today. And you guys need to share this, because I tell you right now, there's somebody there right now that's having a bad day, that's looking around, might have lost their job, still don't know about this convoy. And it might just give them a little hope today. Might give them a little energy to fight. It might give you the energy to say, hey, I'm going to Hagerstown on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll start driving Saturday. It's a 2-day drive. Hey, you know what? I'm taking next week off and I'm going to join them. You guys don't understand. Let's have the problem of not having enough room. Let's have the problem with Hagerstown not having enough hotel rooms. I can tell you what, talking to the hotel people that we switched hotels. So we stayed, 5 days in the first hotel, and we got to know them pretty well, because we were doing, setting up our computer stuff in the lobby and doing all kind of stuff. They were like, wow, we're sold out every night right now because of you guys. And we'd go in the lobby at 10 o'clock, or we'd get home at 10:30 at night, and there would be 60 people that's part of this convoy in the lobby.
Also, if I want to say, people who are watching my live, there's a young man, I had to be like 10 years old, at least 9, 10 years old. American flag, cowboy shirt, let's go Brandon. Look at this, got a couple of truckers honking for him. The future right here. We talk about the kids who are getting indoctrinated, and these young kids who are knowing this, BLM. Young kid right here waving a big flag, you know what I mean? Not just like a little small, a big flag, and he's getting the honkers to honk, and he's like, yeah, yeah. That type of energy, if you're watching that and you saw that on my live, and you just like, that's hope. Yeah. That is the future. I got a chance to thank the mother.
Semi-country living, thank you. It says donate if you can, guys. Hotels aren't free. No, I'm just so grateful that you guys have donated. It's what kept us here and what's going to keep us here. I don't want to. I don't want to go home. I don't, and I'm not going to, as long as we have the means to stay here. And again, I miss my son turned 1 while I was on this, so my son's birthday was March 1st. And it's like every time I see these people roll out, I'm like, thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And they're keeping it clean. They're keeping it lawful. They're doing everything respectful because they love this country and they want to try to do it right at first. That doesn't mean things aren't going to get disorderly. Things aren't going to, we don't know what's happened in 5 days from now. We don't know what happens in 10 days. We don't know how long we're going to be out here. But what I'm saying is, give these guys a lot of love and support. Come out here if you can. Meet these folks. And enjoy the camaraderie that goes on out here. Guy was flying a drone. So back once we get up here, we're gonna start passing people. We're gonna be on the Oreo Speedwagon. This app sucks when it comes to that. Okay, there it went in.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get the mother's name or the son's name, but I got a chance to thank them both. I told her thank you for raising him to be a patriot. I mean, it's just, that really warms my heart, man. It really does, to see him just so excited. Both of their kids, just so excited just to see this convoy. I mean, I'm telling you, the kids are getting indoctrinated so bad today. But when you see kids like that, it's just like, yeah. I'm like, that is the future right there, man. And we definitely need more and more of that. And it's just amazing, man. So I got a chance to thank her, gave her the YouTube channel. I said, follow me today with Julius. I said, follow my friend Oreo Express, watch our lives, and it's just amazing.
Did he just lie to you? We're not friends. We're enemies. We're frenemies.
So yeah, so she got our YouTube, so she'll check us out. I told the young man, thank you. I said, thank you. You are a true patriot. I cannot wait to see what you do in the future. So God bless both of them, and God bless their family. God bless their souls. It's so amazing. I had to go back live because
blocking the road for us. God bless y'all. Telling us, let's go, let's go.
Right on.
Oreo Speedwagon is in the house. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Time to get pumped up, guys. I can't wait to look at that meter today as we're driving. To get an idea of what's going on. Dude, I looked for, they must have just done that last update like while we were here. Because before I leave, I go through all the programs, see what's going on, check to see if there's any updates, see if there's anything going on, you know, that I need to know about. So let's get over here.
Black Malibu, just past the white Suburban. All the fours are leading today.
10-4. We're going to work our way up there and document this whole event. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Man, you guys don't understand. It's not just these truckers, but I mean, again, from everything that we're seeing, we also have these little the people these escorts, these convoy escorts. They're taking their time and they're not escorting wide loads and stuff in their cities and where they're licensed because they're here doing it for us. Isn't that incredible? We got a backup coming on the freeway right here. That's Sasnak. 2 trucks in front of us. What a good guy, man.
Yeah.
What a good guy. He's very humble gentleman. Got a nice truck too.
Yeah, I don't think me here properly, man. That I know of.
Okay, Furnace Paradox. How about this? Jump on another live stream with your leftist friends, or get out of your basement, bud. There's more people that want somebody to just drive a truck through the White House while they're sitting on their keyboard and not putting any of their freedom at risk, not putting their freedom to be in prison with the January 6 prisoners.
Yeah.
But they'll tell you what to do for sure. Don't need you, don't want you. You're not a patriot. I'll tell you that right now. You're exactly what the left wants and loves. Again, it might get to that point, but you always do things diplomatic first. Hopefully that deal, so 2 people this morning said they didn't know about the convoy. They're not very big on social media. They didn't know what was going on, but they did happen to research it after they seen Ted Cruz on the news last night and wanted to know what was going on. They said that was the first they seen of it. They started Googling and they did find the live streamer's info, started working on it, and that's why they came out this morning. So that's good. Even bad publicity is good publicity. Oh man, hey, if some of you guys would help me out, we want to get that Twitch chat up. Go check out Twitch. Go look up Oreo Express on Twitch. If you're on YouTube right now, I'm trying to see how it works with more people. Get a couple hundred of you to go to Twitch. It's great. It actually helps me out in the sense of you'll watch like a 30-second advertisement, which it's monetized on there, and that'll help us out. So if you can't donate, watch on Twitch while we're up live on Twitch, because it will help. So I forgot to tell you guys that before. You can even, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can go to Twitch and your Amazon Prime account gives you a free subscription to Twitch. So you can actually, I think it's $1.99. You don't have to pay for it, but I get 50% of that. So if I get 500 people, that's $500 a month of revenue that I get, and it costs you nothing. We got to find ways to do this, you know what I mean? So please go over to Twitch, check it out, say hi to the moderators in there, say hi to MAGA Princess, and
Princess.
rock it out over there, guys. Rock it out over there.
MAGA Princess is dope. God bless her.
Go give Juror 9 a hard time. How about that? Go in there and give Juror 9 a hard time. They deserve it. Patriot Cliff Wong. Thank you, Patriot. That's another hometown hero that helps get us started and on the road. Cliff, if I call Cliff and say, hey, there's something going on, even if it's a little sketchy, he's all, what time, when, and where, I'll be there. Always has our back. Part of the Oreo Express family. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you so much. I almost forgot what he looks like right now because it's been so long since we've been outside where the angry leftist mob is protesting Adventure Church and Tower Theater. He goes out there every week. What's that? You said the word, I am here. That was Deb's CT. Deb, Connecticut, I guess. I did read your comment there. I'm not going to respond to it, but there's some things that you guys are saying in the comments. Understand, I know what you're saying. I'm just not going to address it live right now, but thank you guys for putting that stuff out there and letting me know. I was aware of that. Man, I asked Julius to ride or to drive one time, and he backs into a truck as we're going into the speedway. One time I asked him to drive. Did you see the look on my face? I'm like,
only, no matter what they tell you, 1 lap only, 2x2 on the beltway.
oh, so we're switching to 1 lap.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to mention to you.
Hold on.
There was some miscommunication internally, and we just wanted to make it very clear. I talked to Brian on the phone. This is X-Ray. Brian said 1 lap, 2 lanes.
Oh, where's the X-Ray at? I wonder what truck he's in.
Somebody said, oh man, Julius. Do not believe what he said.
Hey, you know what? Hashtag fake news of CNN. I'm telling you. Guys, so if you weren't here with us, you are with us, man, this morning. So we pulled into the speedway, and as you can see, I was just in a hurry. I kind of glanced back and I bumped into a Toyota truck, and I looked back and the door's open, and I'm like, oh man, dude was so cool. Dude was like, looked at his bumper, looked at mine. I couldn't see a scratch or a ding or anything. He's like, you're good, man. I was like, oh, thank you. But when you, that initial impact, your stomach goes into your throat, and you're like, oh man, what just happened? So glad it was nothing too much.
I saw that one guy the other day in the parking lot. We were getting something to eat at that restaurant with the neon lights. He backed into the pole.
Oh yeah.
He actually scratched a little bit of his car. I was like,
that was a nice car.
Yeah,
that was like a
truck. He had a little scratch, and I was like,
right, like a 2000. It was like a 2020 GMC.
Yeah.
Keep up the good fight. This shows the spookazoids in DC that if we wanted to, we the people could shut it down. Oh, absolutely. If they made a call out right now, and that's what would have to do I mean, it's not just going into DC and sitting there and getting arrested and impounding the trucks for 30 days, getting charges and nothing happening, because that's exactly what happened. We've seen what Pelosi is still doing with the January 6th committee. I was there on January 6th. I documented it. I live streamed it. I still replay the videos regularly to remind myself how corrupt DC is. There goes Sasnick to the side. let's go, Brandon! 16 people watching, 1 person digging, guys. Government funds at work. Your tax dollars at work. So it's just, I'm kind of happy it's only one loop. I want to get back today and go do a live stream at home where we can give them real information. Yeah. Remind me to buy a full 3x5 American flag for our backdrop.
Okay.
When we get back to the thing. Because I have a feeling that... the Twitch tab crashed as soon as it went when you live loaded. Wow. Oh man, we're gonna have to. Ooh, it's a.
I'm still layered up, just in case throughout the day, but I feel good.
Especially if I just decide like, hey, you know what, man, I'm kind of tired. I've had enough. You want me to drop you off here? What happened to that? Inside joke, guys. God bless you all. Thank you again for you guys jumping over to Twitch. It helps us out. And I want to try to get that up to 500 live viewers on a regular basis because, again, it gives you like a 30-second ad. Anything, but if you know, it's almost... You can't donate, it helps us out. If you can donate, we have a Cash App that's $Oreo Express. We have a buymeacoffee.com/Oreo Express. And then if you have mobile banking app, you can go to the Zelle part of that, Z-E-L-L-E, and you could transfer funds to OreoExpress@yahoo.com. It'll be, if it asks for a name, my name is Josh Fulfer. You can find it on the website, theOreoExpress.com. Thank you for everything you do. Even tomorrow, if the convoy is down because of the weather, it says it's going to snow. I don't know what the snow here looks like. I don't know. I know for safety reasons, we will not be out if it is snowing because, again, we had a little fender bender yesterday. You guys seen the vehicle this morning on the back of the truck, on the back of the other truck. We don't want to take chances. We're not out to get anybody killed. We're out to do this peacefully and diplomatically. So, guys, even if we're not out and about, we'll be bringing you live streams somewhere. We might leave and go somewhere if we're able to drive through it. And again, if any of you guys hear of any protests going on in D.C. in the evenings or the day or anything, like if there's a protest at 1 o'clock and we're with the convoy, we want to bring that to you, bring you a little bit of life in D.C., show you what goes on, show you, you know, and show you how these people act. And I'll tell you what, many of them know me and they hate me. So when I walk up, you're going to get an earful, guys. Last time we were at the January 6th rally, one of the Black Lives Matter yelled out, "Hey, Josh Fulfer, I know you live on Paul. I'm going to go burn down your house and kill your family," or something like that. I got it all on live stream. That's not enough for DC police to do anything for the people that really have nothing to lose. I mean, this little chump was is really just a worthless waste of skin. Needs to find God, but until he does, he's literally a worthless waste of skin. Threaten somebody out there, you bet I would have been locked up in handcuffs, and that's what the double standard is. Especially, it's made her bow wow in D.C. She's the one that causes a lot of problems. I remember when we were down there with Will, we went to Black Lives Matter Plaza. They were calling Will a coon, all kind of horrible names, things that I hadn't even heard in California, but they use in the South and other things like that. And I was like, what does this mean? Like, I was really like, and a sellout, all these things. These people are just calling another black person this. No respect. It wasn't about black lives. It was about political lives. If you were blue, then hey, you were with us. If you didn't and you supported somebody else like freedom and you thought for yourself, they hated you. Getting the love from the truckers we go by. So one lap around the convoy, folks. And you got these, I'm gonna have to read that text in a minute. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was getting this set up as a hotspot.
I know, I'm like, where can I find a hotspot set? Like, do I just turn on the hotspot, mobile hotspot?
Hopefully people notice with the phone upgrade that I did a few days ago, hopefully it's coming through.
Let's get this going. Good enough right there. Alright, we're gonna try this again.
Man, look how beautiful this this area looks right here, guys. Remember, today the four-wheelers are up front, then it's RVs and trucks, trailers, and then bobtails. Oh yes, love my trucker. New subscriber here. Oreo sent me. What of you? Awesome. Thank you guys for jumping over to Twitch and getting over there. I'm trying to get you guys acclimated to all the platforms, because as they try to silence us and they take our ability to reach the masses away. Look at, they're sitting there on the end of the truck. A mom in that honker truck. Thanks for showing us what's happening. Media definitely isn't showing the truth, and that's Flapjack 28. Hey, Flapjack, thank you for being a continued supporter. I recognize that name from previous donations. Thank you. I'm at my job paying my taxes for freedom. Amen. And you know what, guys? Think about that. I know we were talking about truckers, but I'll kind of laugh. And if none of us, if we didn't have no money for food and we didn't need anything and we couldn't buy anything, truckers wouldn't have a job. That's why it's a revolving door. It's all of us in this together, literally. And I hate that saying because it reminds me of Facebook. We're all in this together. Gone for 2 years. Hey, wait a second. Can somebody tell me, today's 11th or 10th?
11th.
Can somebody tell me if it's the 2-year anniversary to 15 days to slow the spread? I think it's March 11th is 15 days to slow the spread. If you guys could look that up and let me know. Breeze Bohem says tomorrow cold high is 37 and windy. 16 degrees overnight. Okay, today is the 2-year anniversary to 15 days to throw the spread. That's what I thought, because I always look that date up, because, oh my God, 2 years. David Flanagan, thank you. It's the anniversary, 2-year anniversary, guys. 15 days to slow the spread. Think about that. Those crazy preppers. So we have everything in the house to sustain ourselves for 90 days. If we need to leave, probably not as good, but, you know. And I remember sitting there and I was like, okay, we're going to give it the 15 days. No problem. We're going to give it the 15 days, and we're going to see what happens. I was actually off work for a medical issue at the time, and my wife was what they considered a...
March 16th.
Oh, March 16th. March 16th. Okay.
According to TrumpWhiteHouseArchives.gov, it was 15 days slow spread on March 16th.
Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there, and it wasn't quite yet. So we got 5 more days till 2-year anniversary. That's when we should hold a massive protest and rally at the state capitol. I'm going to talk to the organizers today.
Yeah. That would be something.
There goes Oreo Speedwagon.
Slow down, Oreo. You gotta consider everybody else. Look, guys, there's a cell tower right here, and it's not going to work with my phone.
Love and support from Florida, Freedom State, thank you, and definitely, let's go, Brandon. You know what, Catherine? I want to go down to Florida. I've been there one time before. I want to go down to Florida, but you know what? My wife would kick my butt if I went to Florida, and it was just for enjoyment. But I was thinking when this is all over, what states I want to hit. I want to hit Louisiana because the food.
You sound like Mexican. No, Catherine, like your arms are rolling. You sound like Mexican. No, Catherine.
Dude, what if I'm identifying as Hispanic today? Why are you being such a bigot? Why are you being such a bigot? But no, that's one place my wife is on her bucket list and she wants to go. Maybe soon. Hopefully, I was going to go there for CPAC actually 2 weeks ago, but this convoy came up and I needed to use the funds to get on the road here. So, but Florida was beautiful. Christine, me and Julius, thank you for watching.
Thank you. God bless.
Guys, and there is people here, but I want to try to keep my chat down to a minimum. I people because pause. There's also a lot of misinformation going around, and I get it, but just try to keep the comment positive. On change and doing the end job. Yeah. He's gonna go out. I'm gonna give him love, give him the flash of the light. He's gonna cruise over. Day 17, right? I just keep saying that. Yeah. 17 days. I remember, guys, when I was leaving, I had to sit down, obviously, and like, when you leave home, you got a 1-year-old, you know, you're trying to plan things out for a couple weeks, extended family has to help, and you're like, how long are you gonna be gone? I was like, I don't know. Could be 2 weeks, could be a month, could be 6 weeks. If we occupy and the police don't like me, I could be gone for 3 months. I don't know. And I just remember that conversation about 3 weeks ago and that uncertainty. And here we are, you know, driving down the Beltway on day 17. And it was funny, guys. So you heard Brian's story last night about the cowboy kid that was here down with us that was kicked off a Delta flight for wearing an F. Biden hoodie. But the first flight he was on, the pilot actually took a picture with him and loved it. And the second one kicked him off and put him on the no-fly list for Delta, which is just absolutely asinine and insane. And so I was actually looking. I got my wife bringing the 1-year-old out for like 2 days so I wouldn't be so homesick and I wouldn't, you know, want to drive back all of a sudden. And we were actually looking at Delta as a possibility if we can raise the money. And I deleted the Delta app last night. I will never use Delta again. Never use Delta again.
It really is wrong, guys. It's absolutely wrong to Put him on
It's
a
discrimination.
no-fly list.
It's
Yeah,
discrimination.
on a no-fly list, even when he complied. No-fly list. And he complied. Turned it inside out and they said no. That's crazy.
What's his real name? Janelle? Or
Janelle Brooker.
Right? Or you said it was...
No, I didn't say it was French, but that...
all of a sudden, also you see him backpedaling right now when it's on real news, hashtag Oreo Express. He's got to make sure it's complete and clear.
Wait, Alright, buffering.
This guy has the little Geico lizard on the side. You should roll down your window and say, you know, you could save 30% by putting Trump back in office.
Right. Yeah. So it's gonna be buffering. So I was talking to Brant. I think I know the reason why my phone kind of cuts out. It's, you told me before, it's about the data, right? If I get unlimited data, I think I might be able to go live stream a lot longer.
Well, I think when you upgrade your phone, and yes, the plan does have a big deal. We'll try to get you to the mall early today.
Yeah.
We should be to the Beltway by what, 12:30? Hour and a half on the Beltway, 2, come back, 4. Yeah, 4:30 we should be at the mall.
Yeah.
And then we'll drop you off to the mall, run in, get everything cleaned up.
Yeah, because unlimited data really does help. I noticed I get text.
Did they fine him $1,500 too? I don't believe they fined him $1,500. I didn't hear that.
Oh, for the airplane thing?
Yeah. Man, it is just awesome, Julius. Windows down, get that cold breeze of fresh air at 65 degrees. It's probably gonna hit 70 soon.
Yeah, I think today's highest.
Over past Patriots.
Today's highest is like 59 degrees, but it's just the warm weather. Like it's just the warm.
Oh, it's higher. It's hotter than that right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're in Myersville. Right now it's 54 degrees in Myersville. So it's just the fact that it's the sun. We got a lot of sun today. So even though it may be like that, not even cold weather. It's just, it's fine. I don't know how to describe it, but the weather is fine today. It's actually good.
Blow that horn, Jacqueline Baxter says. Yeah, we getting folks into bobtails to give us some love. Shout out. Twitch, $1.99. Get over to Twitch, guys. We got over like 1,100 on YouTube. If you would please go check out Twitch. Help us out. Maybe the best way to do it is just not go live on YouTube. I gotta get people over to the other platforms. I gotta look at where Rumble's at right now. We love Rumble. We're getting them Russian Hillbilly. Look at Russian Hillbilly, it says on the back of that truck. Crossville Trucking. Maybe if we have time, also we'll get that horn and ask the mechanic if we could donate maybe $50 to him for him to put it on while we leave the car there at the park.
With the
horn.
Oh, okay.
I don't care if we look up a little compressor in the trunk.
Yeah.
Ellen, Elaine, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. It says thank you for the great coverage. I wonder where Brand is, how far he's back.
Right.
You know what? I had the radio down too much. Turn it back on. Oh my God, that was an owl or something. That was a big bird that got hit. Okay.
I missed it.
Fast moving four-wheeler coming right up on the 45.
Talking about that car that was in the right lane doing like 75 on the right hand side of the truckers. And if you guys have it, you guys are going to get some special surprises, guys. Some giveaways and everything else. That's how I'm going to get you guys over there. Get over to Getter and go to Oreo_Express. I need you guys to get over to Getter. Once we hit 3,500 followers on Getter, we're at like 1,300. It won't take long, maybe a day. If you guys go to Getter and go to Oreo_Express, at Oreo_Express, and we're gonna have some people sign some stuff, some organizers, and we're gonna be giving away some prizes on there. We're also gonna be doing some
Steady about 43 mile an hour, come by the 46.
So our Getter account, and then hopefully our True Social, my personal True Social. Not the Oreo Express one, but if you want to follow me on True Social, that's at Josh Fulfer, Fulfer. I will have the Oreo Express one up shortly.
Slowing down up here, just past 46.
Kathy, thank you so much. It was cool. I got to meet somebody that had helped support us, myself, and a lot of the streamers when we were. What town were we in?
Hotel we in?
No, what town?
Right now we're in.
No, when we met Kathy.
Oh, we was in Indiana.
Were we in Indiana? And
we went to Cracker Barrel.
And we happened to go to Cracker Barrel, just like we always do on the road. We should get sponsorship dollars from Cracker Barrel. Like, I'll take sponsorship from Cracker Barrel. I won't take sponsorship from Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Car crash, 70 to 270, 3-mile backup. Hopefully it's not one of ours.
So, just a side note, Instagram now does captions, automatic captions on the post. So that's cool.
You know what though, Julie, it's beginner stuff to have your chat on the screen when you're recording, so it stays on there. He was so mad last night, so I didn't even know it did it, but the app we use, when you record it, you can have it record the comments on the screen.
Yeah.
So I don't have it do that. So you guys get to see the comments in the chat, but we see it a little different than you guys do, and it can be on the screen. I don't like it like that. I didn't even know you could do it.
Yeah, that was an accident.
He did it by accident, and then he wanted to go back to video to edit it, and he realized all the comments were on the video.
Yeah, which is totally fine. It actually kind of gives it more like a, oh, this is what's happening as the chat is going on. So, but I took it off, guys, so that when I upload, you have to see it no more. But I think it's cool because then you're seeing the reactions that we get. So I took it off because it's weird, but I think it's fine for right now where I have it at. But it's all good. Heck yeah. That's just crazy, dude. Ted Cruz, man. I gotta check Ted.
Top hill, let's keep her nice and tight, guys. Doing a good job.
Oh, that's nice. That's a new truck.
Safely, though, safely, please.
Didn't see that one yesterday.
I've seen that one. It's been here for quite some time. Not too long. But I have
The RMN?
Yeah, I remember the front of it. It's been here, but I haven't seen it since day one. But it has been here, though.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go.
We're getting a little higher. Get over to Twitch, guys. Get over to Twitch.
Okay, I'm gonna try again, guys. Go live one more time. Hopefully this area is a little better.
Good morning, folks. You guys got this going, guys. God bless y'all. I never wanted to be like I am not a patient guy. I think most people know that. I've never had the urge to be a truck driver, but I wouldn't mind now. And I can't do it with a 1-year-old, obviously. But I would love to be able to combine what we do, live streaming, with going to some of the greatest places in the country.
Yeah.
You're on the ground talking to people. You're getting the real information.
Let's back it down, drivers. Coming up closer to the 51 here. We're coming to a stop.
I was talking to a trucker last night, but while I was talking to him, the music was playing, so I couldn't really get that interview. When I was talking to him, he said that, I said that the truckers really do know a lot because they're on the road, they're listening to talk radio, SPV. He said, yeah, he said, all he listens to is talk radio. So he can get information. When he goes state to state, they're knowing what's going on with the government and things like that. And so, yeah, deep quote where he said, the truckers are like, the lanes are like the veins and we're the blood running through it.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
That was deep, man.
Miss Pearl, thank you so much for that Cash App donation. Thank you or the super chat. Thank you. It's appreciated.
Yeah, it was cool, man. He was a good guy. It was Alan Bagley. He was a good dude.
One guy sitting on an overpass. That is amazing. Let's give the love to the state trooper.
Let's try this again, guys.
270 South, Washington, 3/4 mile, exit 53, guys. That's what. Oh, guys, in case you wanted, I was giving updates. So since we left Adelanto, all our driving through this convoy, we are officially at mile 3,896.9. Now it's 3,897 miles officially on this trip for freedom. So just in case you guys are keeping tabs, 3,897. That's how many miles we've traveled since Adelanto, California, 17 days ago.
Absolutely crazy. Amazing at the same time. Okay, let's do this. And hopefully, guys, I can go live and it should be okay.
You know what? Hopefully this is where we get off. I don't see any patrons. Oh, I think we missed it, huh? It was that one.
Oh, down there?
Yeah, I gotta turn around really quick. That's all right. We'll do that. So excited about the mileage, guys. 3,897. 3,897. Look at you live?
Yeah, I'm about to go live right now. But it's buffering, but I'm gonna check the data real quick and make sure that's okay. Data usage.
I don't know. maybe we are. Because I remember coming by that 90Q field. Oh, I know why we came down this one. This is a Costco we went to.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this all looks way too familiar to say we're on the wrong track.
Data usage, data saver on. I'm looking for the data where I'm roaming.
Oh, thank you from Canada from,
What's up, Kathy?
Don't bite you quick, but thank you guys. Remember, guys, we're gonna do I want to ship something out while we're here that you guys like, little souvenirs, I guess, from the Freedom Convoy. Little things we'll pick up here and there, but I'm gonna do it through Getter. So if you're not on Getter, go create your Getter and follow at Oreo_Express.
Wi-Fi, networks, use mobile data roaming. Okay, yeah. That. Okay, hopefully this is a little better, guys. Okay.
Maybe we could fly a flag every day we're in DC. Fly a new flag, right? And give it away as giveaways or raffles and stuff like that. People would want that, I think. This flag was flown during the convoy in DC.
Yeah.
So we're right. We gotta speed up a little and get caught back up. We gotta get to the four-wheelers. I got us. Everybody's slowing down. On the right, you will see the trucker convoy pulling on. And we'll see some overpass patriots up here. Wish there was a way to... Getting ready to head up to the 495 on the Beltway, where we will be going 55 miles an hour, 2 wide, following the laws, and flexing the muscles is what they call it. Julius was flexing the muscles, lifting like 275 on a bench press 3 nights ago.
I wish. More workouts and I'll get there. I like working out. I miss going to the gym, dude.
I do too.
The best thing was the sauna. Working out and going to the sauna, man, I miss that a lot. So, anytime in the gym in the hotel, I am there. I'm doing cardio, I'm lifting, stretching, all that stuff, man. Just trying to get it in. Half hour to an hour. I'm good to go. The body in motion stays in motion. The body at rest stays at rest. So remember that. I'm eating light too, so that's a good thing. Eating light, not doing too much. Keep room for more food later on, you know what I mean? So I can actually be hungry, feel hungry. So better really eat light. And drinking lots of water too. I have like an orange juice, I had like a lemonade the other day, which is fine.
Julius wants to give you his rundown of his routine.
Yep.
Hey now, we need to be able to hear what the hell's going on.
There's still some people outside Cracker Barrel right here. That's got to be the hot spot, man. Maybe we should just come here in the morning and wait here for the convoy.
I'm surprised you haven't gone here and eaten.
I know, we got it.
I'm surprised.
We did go to a Cracker Barrel. We did go to a Cracker Barrel when Julie and Quincy were down.
True, but we haven't gone to that one.
I know. I know. I need to
man.
hit each one off my bucket list. I want to go to every Cracker Barrel. Somebody did that In-N-Out, remember?
Oh, okay.
Somebody went to every... Oh, wow. That's what that is. So the front of those trucks have cameras on them. So you're in the construction zone. They just back that truck up. They program that truck, and it sends you a ticket if you're going over a certain speed.
Gotcha. Interesting. Was there a pink slip idea? Talk about today meeting? Somebody asked about that in the chat.
No, last night, I can't remember the date. You'll have to go watch my live stream. But last night, there was a guy handing out envelopes and paper, pink paper, so you can write Joe Biden his pink slip. And if everybody sends it off on the same day, it'll inundate the White House.
Gotcha.
With letters.
Brake check, Jason, brake check, lower down.
This is how I check YouTube or whether I'm kicked off or not. I always check my page, make sure that it's either working or it's not. So it shows right now, for the most part, that I'm live. So that's cool. So I always do show.
When you do, Army Medic says, when you do, I'll treat you. Something. Bobtails, so we RVs and Oh, sorry, it broke up. I said Army. I'll definitely take you up on that, man. Love that home cooking. Throwing the middle finger up. He doesn't deserve to drive a Ford if that's the case. Go get in your Toyota.
Swing that truck back here, man. Really hold things back. I'll make it. I got the hammer lane. As soon as you guys get clear, let's get out here and get around these people. Get caught back up. You need to get around that white flatbed because he is extremely slow back there. Yep, that's fine. Let's go. Out in the left lane. Let's get around this guy.
Couple overpass Patriots, guys.
Come on, guys. Get in the left lane. Let's go. Let's get around these people.
Trying to bring the back up to the front, get all bunched up again. Looks like we're catching up to the trucks and trailers. $3,906 miles officially, guys. 3,906 miles on our journey to freedom. Guys, I'm going to mute this so I can call home and say hello to the family really quick. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. welcome back, guys. Sorry
You're
about
gonna have
that.
two choices. You gonna go broke or stand up. Which one is it?
We are back. Had to call the family, checked in, see what the little guy he was eating. Little guy is 1 year old. He was eating avocado toast, strawberries, and what else? Avocado, eggs. He's a big eater. He loves everything. There's like nothing we've given him that he doesn't like. Ednar says, I missed when my kids ate everything. Oh, man.
I know, man. Those days were...
My son was picky but plain. My son didn't care as long as he had pasta, plain pasta, rice, and chicken. You could literally make like 10 pieces of chicken and you could feed him that every night and he would be happy. Broccoli, you know, he loved broccoli. But I couldn't get him to eat sushi. I couldn't get him to eat all the stuff I liked. Then my daughter came along and rubbed on, you know, we'd go to sushi. She would eat stuff that I wouldn't even eat. Like she would eat like the octopus stuff. I'm not a big fan of it too. I don't like the texture. She eats everything.
My daughter likes olives. I'm just like, they're okay. She'd eat a whole can of olives if she can.
Luigi Garcia says no raw fish for me. You know what? I love tuna, like ahi tuna, sashimi. There's some that's just a little too fishy for me. But I grew up kind of country lifestyle. We were always hunting and stuff, and my dad would regularly hunt and fish, so I grew up being raised on that stuff. Not raw. Kenneth Jenkins says, I'm 27 and still picky as hell. Okay, well, we're going to kick you out of the back seat, Kenneth, because you know what? When we stop, we just got to be happy with what we get, right, Julius?
He's up 27, I'm picky as hell. Yeah, it's not that I'm picky. I wouldn't say I'm picky. I'm willing to try new things. If I just don't like it, I just don't like it. So, like, I'm down to try it. But if I don't like it, then I will never.
I tried alligator last night. It wasn't bad. It was good, but not like, I think it's something that once you try it again, you'll really like it. Gotcha. I thought the way the texture was like a texture I've never had before in my life.
Okay.
And so when you first bite into it, and it was fried alligator. When you first bite into it, it's shocking because you never had it. About the third bite, you're like, I kind of like this texture because no food has ever been texturized quite like this. I'll have to try it again soon. We're going to take Julius to Roadkill Cafe. If you guys see anything on the road here, you make sure we know. We'll cook it for him tonight, since he said he'll try anything.
I mean,
Purple Pro said alligator is surprisingly good.
Right on. Okay. Fried gator. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like anything. Like, don't give me no human hand and say, oh, just a meat.
You don't want the Dahmer special?
What's the Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, man. Matter of fact, I believe it was either Africa or South Africa. This is like 3 years ago.
Diane Gould, thank you so much for being on Twitch.
I lived in Africa and South Africa. They were serving human charge for that was like $500. Human meat.
What?
Yeah.
That should be illegal.
Yeah. This was reported back in, I want to say, 2017, 2018. And I was just watching the news, and it talked about that. In Africa, they were selling human meat. $500 for human meat. Man.
No, thank you.
I'm good on that, dude. I can't. That's a lot. $500 for human meat. That's insane. That doesn't even sound right.
Oh, Idnar says frog legs are good. I grew up on frog legs. We had a trough in the backyard, and my brother would go to the reservoir behind and get frogs. My mom and dad would cook them up. I never had rattlesnake. I haven't had snake, period. Okay, guys, jump on Twitch. Do me that favor. You might be a surprise in it for you. So, Boyd's, Clarksburg, we're going to try to get caught up to... I see him up there, but... I don't know, like, this guy gets in left lane. Look at this. Look at this. Come on, buddy. That's First Responders Media, guys.
God bless First Responders, man. Good to see you, buddy. We'll try to go live with you guys, but man, just having a troubleshooting. So I might just wait it out and just wait till I can get a little bit phone. Just do it that way.
Did you get some decent donations for a phone?
I think so. I know somebody
You might want to just buy it straight out instead of doing a contract thing. So that way you own it and you don't have that monthly payment on it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we'll see that thing with Metro. It won't even be that much for the monthly payment.
Sorry, somebody said the pic's not good on here. If the picture is not good, refresh.
Yeah. But Metro isn't that bad. I mean, I'm not even paying that much. So I gotta find a phone in Metro that's limited data. If I can get that phone, it should be good.
No, that's not how you need to do it though. You don't worry about what Metro gives you. You buy a phone right out. Like if you have to buy, you need to buy the newest Samsung Galaxy 37, whatever the newest one is. You get that because that. Did you just see your dinner tonight on the side of the road? That was a possum, I think. Because you need to have. It's not what they offer you. Yeah, you might have to spend more money, but again, if you plan on doing this 24/7 and making sure you always have quality stuff, you gotta. It takes money to make money. So just do that. Don't let them offer you stuff. If they say, oh, well, we just got this one where it's going to be $10 a month. Say, no, I'll buy it outright and I'll take that what's the newest one? The Galaxy Note 9?
I'm not even sure. I gotta look. I know it's the Galaxy something. But...
Let's see. Let's ask chat if they know. What's the newest Galaxy, guys, with a great camera? Hold on. Someone just said... The 22s just came. The S22 just came out. Yep. Like Note 20, S22. So go look at the S22 right now on Google. 22 Ultra. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. takes on an overpass to show their love for this country. Man, this convoy must be flying up here. You can even go to whatever your provider is and look at what deals and discounts they're giving right now. Miles in between this convoy. They need to slow it down to 55 here. They're doing about 65 here, and back there it's going 50. Folks over the overpass, Patriots. God bless America. What is it saying?
I'm looking at this is the iPhone 13. I'm looking at that one. Trying to see what it say.
No, you're looking for, if you're going to stick with the same company, the Metro PCS or whatever you have, then you go to Metro PCS and you see what options they have. Gotcha. So they might say, hey, you can get this phone for $18 a month, but you need to get the one with the most recent, because you need fast processor speeds, a better camera.
Okay, yeah.
Don't settle for something that's not brand new, because you're going to have the phone for a couple of years.
Gotcha. So yeah, so this iPhone mini, what it says in the description is it's a faster, super fast 5G. So that's not bad.
You want a mini phone though?
Oh, that is a mini, huh?
You don't want to you won't be able to read your chat.
I'm like, what did you guys say? Okay, yeah. It's slow, but it's gonna get there. See, that's how long there's no service around
Samsung to iPhone?
I mean, it'll be through Metro, so it's not bad.
Well, I'm just asking you.
I wouldn't mind making a switch. I mean, if it's faster, it got better process.
So that's what I was using up until 2 days ago. That's an iPhone 12.
Oh, that's iPhone 12? Oh.
That's the 13 Plus.
Oh, so now you're on the 13 Plus and you're using the iPhone 12.
Yes.
How's the iPhone 12 now for the live streams?
I thought pretty good for the most part. I mean, the only thing I deal with is bandwidth. And again, no matter what phone you have, unless you're paying for a multiple modem carrier like the LiveView, when 1,000 people go live in any area, it's gonna give you issues. It's not you. It's the people that the bandwidth on the towers.
And so that iPhone 13 has been a lot better now, the live stream?
I would say that probably maybe a little better picture quality, and because this one's so overloaded that I've had it, that one's probably faster because it's not
much stuff on there. I got you. Okay. There's one option. It's iPhone 12.
Remember, I don't know how Android works. I don't have an Android, but you got to recreate all your accounts and download all your apps now from an Apple account, and you won't have none of your Android stuff backed up on there. Still not really caught up to the actual Convoy. Yeah. And I gotta go take a wheel. Nunya says my S21 has a good cam.
Yeah, there's a Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. They have 8 available ones. There's the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G.
So you probably, like I said, you want to get the most recent one, so which is like, it looks like it's the 22.
They have a Samsung Galaxy A32. Yeah, so the only options is, as far as the newest phone, would be the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G.
How much is that one?
That one is $289.
No, that's not the newest then. You're looking at $900 for the newest phone.
Yeah, well, this is the only option that they have. The most expensive one would be the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G. That's the most expensive one I see on here.
Look at Best Buy. See what Best Buy has. You can buy an unlocked phone that goes to any carrier. Why are you in? I'm doing 48 miles an hour. With his mask on, driving by himself. I gotta show you guys this. Give me a second, let me slow down. Oh no, when I slowed down, he slowed way down. He's doing like 20 miles an hour. He don't want me to be by him. Okay, I won't.
Yeah, so the newest Samsung is the 22 Ultra. That's like $1,400.
Metro today, at least you'll know. Say, hey, I'm looking. You don't even have to do the Ultra, but the S22, since it's a new model, and say, hey, I want to get the S22. What is it monthly? What kind of? They might even have I don't know if they'll have a trade-in program for yours.
Yeah, well, I checked their site. They don't have it. They don't have that phone on their site. Whatever they have site is usually what they have in the store. It's always like that. So they only have.
I can guarantee that might be the ones where their contract is, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have the newest Samsung. I'm almost positive. Like, what store, unless it truly is this ghetto store that just has the used stuff and the old stuff. But I'm pretty sure if they want to make money and compete with the big boys, they're going to have some new phones there. I mean, that would be like a Toyota dealership only selling Corollas, not Tundras, not Camrys.
But Metro, I've been with Metro since 2010. They've always been like that, though. Like they have newer phones, but for the most part, again, what you see on the website is what they have in the store. It's always been like that. So they'll have the newest phone, but it's like the newest phone, which is gonna be like the one before that. So
yeah, I'd check it out. I might even consider switching out of Metro. Again, this is this is a business decision right now.
Yeah. I mean, if I had 15, 1400, it was Samsung right now, but I just don't have the money right now.
We're gonna catch this convoy. Like, I don't know how fast they're going up there, but they're miles ahead of the trucks. They need to slow it down.
Dead from myocarditis, which we understand is the inflammation of a heart. That can only be, correct me if I'm wrong, you can only get that if you have the
with their 2 kids waving the flag. Someone said flip phones rule. Maybe, let's see, who was that? Luigi Garcia says, why don't you get a flip phone? get a razor.
Yeah, like old school.
And when you text, you could hit like the 2 button 3 times for a C. Yeah. How things have changed since I was a kid, man.
I remember that.
C. Oh, I want to spell cat. 222.
Yeah.
Wait. 2.
Yeah, dude. Back in the day. Oh man.
Or maybe what? My first phone was a bag phone. Contel Cellular. Had this big old thing, it had a cord to it, and an antenna that you had to lift up.
I like the sweatshirts. That's it, right?
We see thousands of people on those overpasses every day beside the road when we were coming out here. The thing that struck me was you'd see the mother and her child in the middle of a field out there with a sign and a flag going, "Thank you, truckers." The one individual with a Gadsden flag on an overpass. This movement is deep and across America. And now I'm going to have to go into this meeting behind closed doors with Dan Sullivan, with my friend Rachel here, so that we can at least represent for the state of Alaska and for professional EMS people across the board. And they're not going to record the meeting, they're going to transcribe it. And to me, it's unethical to not be transparent with your constituents and with the American public, because we're here at the Capitol, and I've said it several times, and I'll say it right here and right now. This is the hill I will die on, because this is about the future of our children. This is about not allowing liberty to die because of the Emergency Powers Act. We have to get them to take it down. We gave the power to our elected representatives to have the Emergency Powers Act in place to protect us. Those authorities have abused that power. They are no longer responsible to us. We must take that power away from them and never give it back. Because we now know they will take it, they will abuse it, and they will abuse us. There's thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that have got medical injuries, hundreds of thousands of families that have been divided because of having to choose one way or the other. Are we going to have our livelihood? Are we going to take this unapproved, dangerous medication that they're pushing on us? They have to make those decisions every day, and it should not be made by mandate. It should be the choice of the individual with the consultation of their doctor. We have a doctor right here that can verify what we're saying. I took a phone call from my niece last night. She was crying because her daughter got the Pfizer vaccine back in September. She is a young 16-year-old healthy girl. She dances with a dance studio. So she's in very good shape. And now she nearly bled to death because she couldn't tell her mother about her female cycle. And it could have killed her. We don't know that it's not going to kill her. And here they have thousands of dollars in medical bills. The other part of what we have to do is have accountability, because that's my family that's financially damaged. Thousands, not hundreds of thousands of other families are financially damaged. To say nothing of the small businesses that have been destroyed because of these mandates. Why? Because people in power are not willing to act responsibly, because they want more power so that they can destroy more lives and take control of our country. we're not going to stand for that. And I'm going to go into this meeting with Dan Sullivan, and I'm going to have to tell him, I want your fucking resignation. Excuse my language. I'm here with Brian because he's a trucker, I'm a trucker. We're all truckers today. But we're also thousands of different professionals, thousands of different livelihoods. And all we can do is represent for you and say, we stand here today in solidarity with you in America.
So for the People's Convoys being down in Hagerstown and doing the Beltway loop, you know, we said that when we were going to come out here and do meetings that we were going to make sure that it's live streamed and that it's transparent. I'm not going to go out and try to speak for a group of people and then they can't see what we're saying and then just trusting that what we come back and say is the truth. I believe in speaking from the heart and speaking truth, but transparency is a big part of that. Mainly because I'm going to mess up what they tell me and I'm going to say it wrong when we get back to talk to the people. So for me personally, and I called him and spoke with him before making the decision to find out where he stood on it. But for me, I don't feel comfortable going to speak on behalf of the People's Convoy or those that are following along without it being transparent. I think you should know what I'm saying. I think you should hear how they're responding. Because of that, I'm excluding myself from the meeting. I'm not going to be a part of any meeting that isn't transparent to the American people, for the people that are following along, and for those that are down there in the convoy. I think it's wrong. I don't think there's a reason whatsoever to have a closed-door meeting with your constituents. I don't think there's a reason whatsoever to have a closed-door meeting when you know why we're here. What would be the purpose of that? What are you trying to serve? If you want a closed-door meeting with your constituent, that's one thing. You have a few moments with your constituent to talk privately. But if you want to have a meeting about the People's Convoy and you want to claim that you support the People's Convoy, then you should be able to do so on camera. You should be able to do so publicly. You should be able to do so out here. Even if it's in the office, you should be able to do it on camera. Because of that, I'm not going in this meeting. I choose not to, and some might be mad about it, but I did check with him first. I told him if he really wants me in there, I'll go in there, but not to speak on behalf of the People's Convoy, just to support him. And since I'm not going in, I'll offer this piece of advice. Speak true to your heart, speak the truth, and don't change who you are.
Right. Absolutely.
Say exactly what you want to say. Don't get nervous. Just speak the truth, and it'll all work out just fine.
And I'll say it again. I'm going to go in that meeting and I'm going to say what I'm saying here in public. And all I can do is come back out of that meeting and tell you what I was told, and that's the truth.
So if he's comfortable enough, when the meeting's over tonight in Hagerstown, I'll have him jump up on the flatbed and let everybody know how his meeting went today, if you're comfortable doing that.
Absolutely.
All right, and you too?
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is a prime example of what the People's Convoy is all about. All of us together right here.
Yeah.